Okay, so now we're going to talk about word problems with decimals. All right, so our first one is Mr. Smith's car gets 32 miles to the gallon, and if he travels 531.2 miles, how many gallons of gas does he use? All right, so you want to think. With each of these problems, you want to think practically about what am I really trying to solve here, and then estimate, and then work it out. Okay, if you can do those three kind of steps, I think you'll be more successful. Okay, so I'll think to myself, okay, that means 32 miles to a gallon means every gallon of gas that he buys, his car is able to go 32 miles. Okay, so every 32 miles uses 1 gallon of gas. It's another way of saying it that might be more helpful. So how many groups of 32 are there in that 531 whatever? So it's a division problem. I'm trying to figure out how many equal groups, okay? That's trying to separate into equal groups, that's division. So I'm going to estimate. I'm going to round this to 540 because I know it really rounds to 530, but 540, 30 goes into 540. I'm looking for my compatible numbers when I divide or multiply. So I knock off the zeros. I see 3 goes into 54 really 18 times. So it's 18 gallons is about what my answer is. When I actually do it out, bring the decimal up, I get 16.6. Okay? Next one. Number 2, you buy 5 movie tickets and 1 $5 bucket of popcorn for about 30 bucks. How much does each ticket cost? So again, we think, all right, do I just divide first? Okay, I've got all this money I just paid for. I got tickets and popcorn. So, okay, I think I gotta subtract out the popcorn amount and I can see how much I really paid for each ticket. All right, so then you estimate. Well, that's about $30. I'm subtracting the $5. I get 25. I have to buy 5 tickets. That's pretty easy. Each ticket's probably about $5. All right, so you actually do it. You go ahead and subtract out the $5 from that. You get 23, a little less. And then when you divide it by 5, you really get $4.75 was each ticket. Okay, next one. All right, number 3. All right, if you walk 3.5 miles per hour, how far will you walk in 1.2 hours? Okay, so again, you got to think. Okay, what they're really saying is, when I walk for a whole hour, I walk almost 4 miles, almost 3.5. I walk 3.5 miles. Okay, in 1 hour, I walk about 4 miles. In a half hour, about 2 miles. However you want to make it think real practically for yourself is really good. Okay, so you're looking for a total. Okay, I'm not looking for each of anything. I'm looking. I walked that long. How far did I go? What's the total amount that I went? But you realize you can't. Usually for total you add, but you can't add here because you can't add miles and hours together. It's like, you can't really do that because they're two totally different things. So then you would need to multiply and use a repeated addition. Okay, well later on we're going to learn another way how to solve this problem. Right now just think, okay, I want a total amount, I need to multiply. So you set them up. You don't have to line them up. They end up lining up, but that's okay. They do not line up in the answer because the problem has 2 numbers behind the decimal, so my answer has to have 2. I got about 4.2 miles, and that's about what I forgot about the estimating, but the estimating would be about 4. It's about 4 miles times 1 be 4 miles, and that's what it ended up being. All right. Next one. Okay, this problem uses the word commission, and I don't know if you've heard that word before, but basically when you work for commission, you usually get a base salary, which is usually not very much, and what they have you also you're also paid for like shoes. If you want to sell shoes, sometimes shoe salesmen work for commission. So you get a certain amount just for showing up at work, but every shoe they sell, they get a certain percentage. So that encourages the workers to get out there and sell more shoes and try to work harder. Okay, so Jenna earns $6.67 per hour plus commission. Okay, so last week she worked 43, almost 44 hours, and earned an additional $65 in commission. Okay, we don't know what she does. That's not the issue. Okay, just so you understand, the commission is sort of an extra amount added on to your paycheck, depending on how hard you worked. All right, how much did she earn last week? So we know what's her total bill. She wants to know that. I think we all want to know that when we're working. Okay, so you got to think. Okay, we're looking for a total amount here, but again, we can't add hours and dollars. Okay, that's not going to work at all. So must need to multiply. Okay, but also we need to add extra for the extra amount that she earned, this extra amount right here. So we're going to estimate. She earned about $7 an hour. She worked about 40 hours. That's about $280. Plus the $65 she earned in commission. So you add all that up, her total, our estimate, is about $345 for 1 week's of work. So let's do the actual. When you do the actual, you multiply. You have 3 decimal places for your answer, so you have to put the decimal behind 3 numbers. And then you add that. Now this is going to round. When it's 0.145, you know, you're gonna round to the nearest penny, but the number behind that is 5, so 5 or more, you raise the score, so she really could say she earned the 15 cents. All right, then you add the 64 and you get about 354, which is very close to our estimate, so that's encouraging, that's good. All right, next problem. All right, if 3 bags of Oreos, that's Oreos, if they cost $5, okay, they're on sale probably, what is the cost of 1 bag? All right, so here you gotta think, we're trying to find the cost of one thing, of each. We're dividing this, we're trying to figure out what's the cost of 1 bag. That would be division. All right, so we're estimating it, 5 divided by 3, well that's not compatible, so I'm gonna make the 5 be 6, that's compatible. So 6 divided by 3 is $2, so about $2 I'm paying, a little bit less for each bag. So when you actually do it out, you get 1.666 repeating, and again, if you had to round that, if you had to round 1.6666, you want to round to the nearest penny, well, you look at the number after it, it's 5 or more, we raise the score, so that's why it's $1.67, roughly. It's probably what the store is going to charge you. So, that was close to our estimate of about $2. And that's it. That's all we have.